Evaluation Question 1. My magazine is called Renegade. The definition of renegade is a person who deserts a party or cause for another. This represents my target audience which my magazine is aimed at, showing that the cause they have left is mainstream pop music for rock and metal music, which is the genre of my magazine. My main target audience will be aged around 15 to 24. This is because, using the evidence from other similar magazines to mine, such as Q, Kerrang and Metal Hammer, I have found this is the age range to have the highest percentage of buyers of their magazine. So I've chose to exploit that. I shall also, for the same reasons previously stated, keep my magazine male orientated, as they have the biggest percentage of buyers. Where my magazine differs from others is the percentage of ABC ones that will buy my magazine. For example, Kerrang is over 50%. I will be now moving on to evaluating my front cover. I looked at lots of professional magazines to take inspiration from and pastiche so my final product would look as professional as possible. I made sure I used magazines from the same genre as mine, such as Kerrang, Q and Metal Hammer. This is so my magazine wasn't too different and unrecognisable to an audience of what genre it is. I shall start from the top and work my way down and explain where I have took ideas and inspiration from other magazines and where I have challenged their codes and conventions with the reasons for this. Nearly all professional magazines I looked at had a banner along the top, and all of the banners seem to offer the same thing. They try to offer you free or exclusive content. I follow the same approach with mine, offering a chance to win free tickets to a gig. Underneath the top banner, there is always the masthead. I created mine from looking at NME's and Kerrang's. I took the colours and fonts from NME's, which is very representative of my target audience, and as it is a bold sans serif font making it easy to read from a distance, then I used the broken effect from the Kerrang and added that to my own masthead, with my own little twist. Also, as it is a broken text on a music magazine, this implies that it's happened by the loud music. This is also very representative of my target audience, as they like their music loud. Unlike the top two things which I have pastiche from other magazines, I have challenged the codes and conventions by putting my slogan underneath the masthead, when they haven't at all. The reason for me doing this is because I am a new magazine and I think it is important to let an audience know a little more about my brand. It reads, "Where music is number one." I feel this is very relatable for my target audience because they are passionate about music, and if they feel they have this common ground with my magazine, they will trust it and be more likely to buy it. Next thing to talk about is my main cover image. I had my two models set which I were going to use, so I started researching other main cover images from professional magazines that had two models. I found consistently on all of the magazines with the two models, they always had a direct gaze and positioned one person slightly behind the other. I pastiched this convention as I wanted my magazine to look as professional as possible. Also, with the models I chose, I tried to create an ideal self-ideal partner Hall 1980-like image. This is so people will look at the front cover with these two band members on, and people would aspire to be them and buy the magazine to read more about them. Then there is the main cover line, which I have made yellow to fit my house style and because it is very eye-catching. It also provides anchorage for my main cover image, letting an audience know who they are. I also have other cover lines on my front cover are used as the other cover lines on my front cover are used as sell lines. They are telling readers what is inside my magazine to gain their interest and make them buy it. The reason I have used these is because, as you can see, they are used on pretty much all other magazines. They are very common to see. Also, I've noticed that nearly 100% of the time, the front covers of other magazines contain extra images, so I added more to mine. But unlike most magazines where they have their pictures at the sides, I have put mine at the bottom. The reason for this is because I believe it made my magazine more aesthetically pleasing, and it made my hung Polaroid picture idea more possible. The reason for the Polaroid effect is because my target audience generally has an interest in photography as well as music, so this is something they could relate to easily. Also, to go with the pictures, I have a cell line to provide anchorage explaining what the images are, and trying to convince an audience to buy the magazine by offering them exclusive content. The final thing on my front cover is the bottom banner. The purpose of this is to cram in lots of content and information to let the reader know who and what's inside the magazine. This is just one huge push to get an audience to buy the magazine. I have seen these used by many professional magazines, especially Kerrang, so I decided to pastiche the idea for my own. Now I will be talking about my contents page. At the top of my page there is a header which says Contents, letting the reader know what my page is. Below that there is a main picture. It is a medium close-up of a person who will feature inside the magazine, and on the left of the main picture there is a preview of a double page spread, anchored by a banner telling you what it is and what page it is on. I have seen layouts such as mine hundreds of times. I believe it looks professional, has the right amount of content on it, and this is why I pastiched the look for my own magazine. Underneath that top section I have my masthead. I have noticed this on lots of magazines who do the same thing, of putting their mastheads on the contents page, so I did this with mine. I have challenged other magazines though by making mine very large, but unlike them I am a new magazine, so I think it's important to keep reminding the reader of what magazine it is they're reading and getting them to see my logo as often as possible. It's also very eye-catching for others to see who are looking on, who could then ask the reader of the magazine about the magazine, spreading knowledge through word of mouth. For the bottom part of the contents page, I pastiched ideas mainly from Kerrang and Metal Hammer, but I put my own twist on what I did. I used the idea from Metal Hammer of splitting my contents up into regulars and this week's, and the idea of the Kerrang for the editorial, and also having this set up every week would become very recognisable for readers, who would be able to find the content they wanted very quickly and very efficiently. Then in the This Week section, I pastiched ideas from Kerrang for the crossheads, but set them to my own house style and my own house colours. I use this to give the page a very professional look, with a practical purpose also. Then finally I have my editorial column. This is a column for the editor to have his say in every week about the magazine, its content, or just the weekly events. It will be mostly wrote in a friendly, welcoming manner, so it doesn't scare off or offend any readers. It will also be wrote in a student-to-teacher mode of address, or teacher-to-student. It is because the editor is sharing knowledge with the readers, so he is passing on information. Now I'll be moving on to talk about my double page spread. Similar to my contents page, I have put a header at the top of the page explaining what the spread is about, a gig review. But in this header I have also added a rating system to show in a nutshell how good an act was. I pastiched this idea from Kerrang as it is simple, effective and looks great. I have 4 separate pictures that go along the top of my page. I have done these in a Polaroid effect as it looks very professional, and I have seen it done in many other magazines, but also it fits my personal house style as I have used this previously. Also on these pictures I have text in banners. They are usually very light-hearted snippets of information used to make the reader laugh. I have included these as I have seen these in all different types of magazines in all different genres, again to make my personal magazine look more professional. Also up top I have my main cover line for this page. It is short, simple and to the point. The reason I have got it up there, even though most other magazines like mine don't bother with a main cover line on their double page spread reviews, is because it provides anchorage for the rest of the page, letting an audience and a reader knowing what is on the page. And I have seen a few where they do include a main cover line, but when they do, it is very small. So I have stuck to this coding convention and kept mine small and in the corner. At the bottom I have a wide shot of the band playing from the gig review. This is to show an audience who they are, what they look like, and also with the text make them feel more like they were actually there. On top of the picture is a huge pull quote from the article at the side. There's a big red banner behind it to grab your attention straight away, and it makes that the first thing you look at. Then by reading that, it makes you want to read the article next to it. So it's used as sort of a cell line for the article to the left. I have challenged codes and conventions of other magazines by putting this pull quote on top of the picture, as generally they don't. But I believe it made my magazine look more professional with it on, rather than without it. The last two things to talk about on my double page spread is the text on the left hand side and the page numbers. I have pastiched both these ideas from Kerrang magazines I have seen. For the page numbers, I have my masthead next to it and then the page number straight after, just like Kerrang's. The reason being to constantly remind people of what the magazine is and get them to see my logo as much as possible. That is why my masthead is with the page numbers, but it also gives it a nice professional look. And for my text, I have pastiched the Kerrang layout for the lives, but I have done gigs, because I believe it looked professional and it's effective. It allows me to get as much content in as I need and leaves me lots of room for the pictures I wanted to add. I also started off with a drop capital, as this is very commonly seen.